it happened.
Zohran Mamdani wins New York's mayoral election.
This is a historic win.
Tonight, you have delivered a mandate for change.
This 34-year-old state assemblyman, largely unknown a year ago, got plenty of pushback.
I believe that Zohran Mamdani is a threat to my constituents.
I disagree wholeheartedly with Zohran Mamdani.
Yet, despite rattling even members of his own party, his bold ideas have struck a chord with New Yorkers.
Wall Street has been clearly humbled with this race. Initially, they thought his campaign was a joke. Then they worked hard to defeat him, used insults.
This is a story of a very savvy, young, upstart candidate who knew exactly what the pain points were of New Yorkers.
We're going to build a city where no one has to struggle to survive.
And he knew how to communicate to them in a way that his opponent simply wasn't able to.
We're voting you off the island.
And his popularity has gained a certain someone's attention, making many wonder if it could spill out over to the rest of the country.
For everyone.
He's a disaster. That's a terrible thing for our country. He's a communist.
There is a segment that is reaping the benefits of the market boom. But there are many other segments of this society that have been languishing. Something's clearly broken, and that is how you get a mayor like Mamdani.
Also says something about where voters, not just in New York City, but maybe across the country, are in terms of what they think the solutions are to the country's affordability problems.
So, how did the capital of capitalism end up electing a mayor who's a democratic socialist? New York City, the city that never sleeps. But when New Yorkers do, they're usually in a rental. Roughly 2 out of 3 lease their home.
The rent is too damn high.
New York City has been an expensive place for decades.
Our children can't afford to live
There was a candidate for governor named Jimmy McMillan who ran on a platform that he called "The rent is too damn high." He also ran for mayor, and he was sort of seen as a not serious candidate at the time, but the argument, I think a lot of people would argue, was valid.
Rent burden is traditionally thought of as a problem for the working class, but now it's knocking on the doors of the city's highest earners.
I'm talking about people who are earning between $100,000 and $300,000 a year who for the first time are considered rent burdened. They're spending more than a third of their take-home pay on their rent.
The rent is so crazy in the Bronx. I don't know how
When pop stars are complaining about rent, you know the housing crunch is no joke.
The city has been really jolted by the effects of the pandemic. And since then, we've seen the prices of rents spike astronomically.
Whether it's landlords clawing back COVID-era losses or tons of luxury development, rents citywide climbed 27% between 2020 and 2024, outpacing other major U.S. metros. But all costs of living are going up. Grocery prices have been on the rise for most of the past 5 years, with New York City outpacing the national average. And full-time daycare can cost $26,000 a year per child. The Mamdani campaign zeroed in on this crisis and offered up some pointed policies to address them. The question is, how much can he really achieve? One of his most popular proposals is a rent freeze. And the truth is, he could get this done.
The mayor appoints all 9 members of this body called the Rent Guidelines Board. Those members tend to vote the way that the mayor who appointed them wants them to.
The plan, however, would only apply to the city's nearly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments. And questions remain how this will ease the strain on renters.
For people who live in those rent-stabilized apartments, freezing the rent is a really significant factor in maintaining affordability for them. The issue is that, according to the landlords, the costs of operating those buildings have become really, really expensive.
And so there is this criticism of his plan, which is that it could actually result in lower supply of apartments.
2 other campaign proposals were free buses and free childcare for young kids. Ideas that are pretty popular with other New York politicians.
it's really possible that the state could agree to give him some money to fund fast and free buses, which he said would cost about $750 million. It's possible that they could give him some money to help pay for a little bit of the universal child care program that he's promised.
Child care is more expensive than people's rent.
Another Mamdani idea is to launch city-run supermarkets.
Grocery prices are out of control.
The pilot program is actually cheaper than some of his other proposals and could end up in the city budget.
The idea is to open a grocery store in each borough where the city is controlling the prices in order to offer people a more affordable option.
In order to help pay for such programs, Mamdani has proposed a 2% tax increase on residents earning more than $1 million a year, as well as a bump to the state's corporate tax rate. This has Wall Street and some in the broader business community warning of blowback.
The reality is the services that we provide to the people of our city and our state significantly rely on the profits of Wall Street.
Millionaires paid about 40% of all personal income taxes in New York State.
They are essential to the operation of things like the schools in New York.
But the rich are also earning a lot more. Nearly 30% of all income reported in New York State went to millionaires. And don't get Mamdani started about billionaires.
I don't think that we should have billionaires. For a man who said he doesn't like the idea of billionaires, running for an important seat in a city full of them once again revives conversations about the potential for the power center shifting away from New York.
But Mamdani's control over taxes is very limited.
The mayor of New York City has almost no authority to raise revenue on his own. He needs the approval of the state legislature and the approval of New York Governor Kathy Hochul.
Any tax increase has to come across my desk first. I will work with whomever the mayor is as long as they want to help foster my policies, which is pro-growth, pro-business.
New York's finances aren't helped by this so-called big, beautiful bill slashing federal funding to social programs nationwide.
New York is facing a budget hole, and it's also facing cuts from the federal government that it's going to have to contend with in the years to come. The jobs are basically where they were before the pandemic happened. But subway ridership, for example, is 74% of where it was. Office vacancy is double from what it was before the pandemic. So the question is, will Mamdani get any money from Albany to run any of his social programs? Or will New Yorkers actually be getting a tax increase regardless because of the budget gap? And that money probably won't go to Mamdani.
Yet a massive wealth flight from New York City seems unlikely. And business leaders have softened on Mamdani.
We've seen some of this rhetoric before. Not all of that rhetoric panned into the reality of a mass exodus from the city. And oftentimes what happens is business leaders realize that simply repeating the threat of leaving the city will be seen as somewhat of a selfish act.
Many of them are saying that they found him to be a good listener.
I can see why he's in the position he's in. He was articulate, engaging.
If he becomes mayor, I will call him and offer my help.
Mamdani has shown a penchant for finding commonalities between groups.
For a long time in New York, the key to winning election has been to cobble together a coalition of different ethnic groups. What Mamdani has done is appeal to people on an economic argument.
Thank you to the next generation of New Yorkers who refuse to accept that the promise of a better future was a relic of the past.
And he's managed to do this despite opposition and political attacks over his fierce criticism of Israel, an issue that remains divisive within the Democratic Party. All of this comes at a time of rising anti-Semitism in New York, home to the largest number of Jews outside of Israel.
For someone who is so prominent a critic of the Israeli government to succeed and win in New York City represents a sea change in the city's political alignment. That has some New Yorkers and some Jewish New Yorkers really concerned.
To be Muslim in New York.
Mamdani himself has been the subject of Islamophobic attacks.
He'll be the first Muslim mayor of New York City ever in 400 years. He'll be the first South Asian mayor. The population of Asian Americans has grown to be somewhere around 15%. It's the fastest growing ethnic group in New York City.
New York led by an immigrant.
Mamdani's brand of populism has some leaders in the Democratic Party taking notes.
This result will have a massive impact on how the Democratic Party decides to tackle the midterm elections and the general election.
But in New York City, Mamdani's success will hinge on bringing everyone to the table.
If the business community doesn't feel welcome here, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to take their business elsewhere, but it may just mean that they don't invest in the future here.
Now that he is in office, they will have to engage with him to shape the city in the direction that they would like to see it go.